Artificial intelligence is transforming fields from journalism to justice, but as concerns over misinformation and bias and lack of accountability tend to grow, experts are warning that stronger oversight is essential before AI can be fully trusted in decision making. Joining us now is business consultant Davis McAlister. It's good to have you with us. How can AI-generated errors actually harm someone's reputation in a very quick manner? Take us through what you're seeing.
Yeah, so what AI can do is it will make hallucinations, make it sound authoritative. And so what happens is that these errors are going to ruin reputations before anyone can have a chance to fact check. So for example, back in 2023, there was a New York lawyer that ended up being sanctioned because he had used ChatGPT to build his legal case. And then turns out none of those cases were real. So the judge looked at it, said, this is not accurate, and he ended up getting sanctioned as a result of that.
Okay.
There was also a case where a radio DJ had been implemented into criminal imaging and ended up in a legal suit, ended up suing GPT and OpenAI, and ended up losing the lawsuit as a result.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah, so, it can get quite sticky.
They found this thing. Yeah, absolutely.
Why is it so hard to correct false or damaging information once it's published by AI? You outlined some really good examples there, but take us through a bit further.
So one of the challenges is that when you run something in AI, it doesn't always necessarily save the information. So here's a prime example. I had a friend of mine that he runs a PR firm, and I was doing some background information on him, put some information in where he was concerned, and cross-referenced it with one of his previous clients, and it completely fabricated an entire lawsuit that didn't even exist. And so the problem is that it was not reproducible. So when I gave him the same information, he went back, tried to reproduce it, and couldn't reproduce it. So once it's changed, that can be lost. But the problem is that somebody could save it and then be able to use it to be able to defame somebody.
Okay, so just building AI slop on top of AI slop, and I've heard more and more people using AI in the legal system, but instead of reducing bias, how can AI actually make it worse? Can we go through a little bit further about the problem we're looking at?
Yeah, so what it can do is it can take bias and it can magnify it. It doesn't just remove it. It takes it and it scales it up. So if you train it whatsoever or put in algorithms that put in bias or any type of discrimination, it's going to reflect it back faster and louder. So ProPublica exposed racial bias in criminal sentencing algorithms, where it was showing that black males had a higher propensity. So another example was with Amazon. They had a problem with one of their hiring programs and found out that their resume screener downranked women in its process. So they had to go back and revamp that entire. Yeah. And so another really, really bad example is, they have facial recognition programs, and they found that 34.7% of dark-skinned women would show an error rate and would be kicked out versus 0.8% for light-skinned males.
Okay, so there's that bias actually coming into play straight away. But what are the risks when outdated or harmful stereotypes like the ones you've outlined are baked into these AI systems and then rolled out?
Yeah, the problem is that there's no appeals court. So when AI gets it wrong, there's no editor, there's no correction, there's no path to clear your name. An example would be students that are going to college. They use these programs to be able to assess, their work, to be able to see if they've been using AI for plagiarism. And the problem is that there's faults in those programs, and then the students end up getting kicked out for cheating, and then there's no appeal process for that. And you have things like Section 230, which helps protect a lot of the platforms, but there's not a recourse for the people that are involved. So when AI defames you, there's no newsroom, there's no retraction, and there's no editor to call to be able to make that correction.
Davis, where to from here? And if people want to continue the discussion with you or someone from the team, where's the best place to go?
They can go to my website. It's drdavismcallister.com. They can also reach me by email at info@drdavismcallister.com.
And a little highlight of what we can expect to see moving forward. I know we don't have a crystal ball, but where do you think we're headed?
There needs to be a little bit more legislation. I think, right now there's currently 700 bills that have been proposed here in the United States, and then there's even more that have been introduced across the world. So there's got to be some regulations and things put in place. There's got to be some recourse. One of the prime examples here in the United States, they implemented what's called the Take It Down Act that was introduced by Senator Ted Cruz. It was taking information that people were putting out. They were taking images or information about individuals, in particular teens, and using them to extort for money. And there's actually one case where a teenager ended up committing suicide as a result of that. So, so now they have a regulation to where once something like that is identified, the owner of the program has 48 hours to take it down.
Yeah, so Davis, it's important stuff that. It's important stuff that you're outlining. Sorry to interrupt, but hopefully we get to speak again as this continues to roll out and that legislation gets put in place quickly.
Yes, that would